Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ian's return stuns Mariah, Kane surrenders to Lily's demand. Ian Ward's, Ray Wise, return will stun Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, while Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, surrenders to Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, demand. At Society, Kane will overhear Devin Winters, Brighton James, trashing him to Abby Winters, Melissa Ordway, when he walks in. Lily will arrive soon after, so Kane will convince her to sit with him and make his latest "I've changed" spiel. Kane will admit he developed the AI program for the wrong reasons and will confess to his Genoa city takeover plans. However, Kane will assure Lily that he's turning things around and now wants to use the program for something good. Lily will insist the program must be destroyed instead and will argue that handing it over to her would be a good first step toward proving Kane has changed. Kane will suggest Lily should consider it done then and will surrender to her demand. At Crimson Lights, Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, will work on her laptop as she schemes to score control of Kane's AI and make sure she's holding all the cards in GC. At the GCAC, Daniel Romalotti Jr., Michael Graziadei, will walk in with Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, after a rushed trip home from Boston. Although Daniel was hoping to make it back in time to join Danny Romalotti's, Michael Damian, bachelor party, he'll see that the bash must have wrapped up already. Tessa won't want to go home yet, so she'll get the nanny to stay with Aria Porter Copeland, Maddie and Millie Engel, another night. Daniel will join Tessa for a drink in the jazz lounge and quickly realize she wants to get drunk to forget her problems. Since Tessa will be set on drowning her sorrows, Daniel will at least think she needs to get some food and drink some water, too. Tessa will head to the athletic club's dining area with Daniel and guzzle more booze, but she'll remain distraught over Mariah blowing up their life together. After Tessa decides to head up to a suite, Daniel will help her since she'll be tipsy and stumbling. That'll lead to Daniel holding Tessa on the staircase, where she'll surprise him by planting a passionate kiss. At the Boston Clinic on Tuesday's YNR episode, Mariah will consider contacting Tessa before calling Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, instead. Sharon will be by comatose Noah Newman's, Lucas Adams, bedside when the call comes in, so she'll step out in the waiting area to answer it. Mariah will admit she's struggling and will give Sharon updates on Tessa's visit. After Mariah wishes Sharon could hold her and offer comfort, she'll wonder if her mom could come see her. Sharon will stammer a bit since she won't want to leave Noah, but she won't want to give the news of his crash to Mariah and worry her either. Mariah will ultimately decide it's best if she works things out on her own anyway, but Sharon will look distraught as her daughter disconnects. Mariah will cry over the playing card Tessa ripped up and sit there by herself until Ian suddenly appears sitting across from her. Ian, or at least the version Mariah has presumably cooked up in her mind, will ask Mariah if she's feeling lost and alone again. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Ian's return will shake Mariah up as she tries to deal with her past, so stay tuned. Mariah Copeland's world is about to be shaken to its core once again when she comes face to face with a ghost from her twisted past, Ian Ward. The very mention of Ian's name is enough to send chills down anyone's spine, but for Mariah, this isn't just a name, it's the dark shadow that once haunted her very existence. At the same time, across Genoa City, Kane Ashby is facing his own reckoning as he finally gives in to Lily Winters' relentless pressure to prove he's a changed man. These two storylines are about to collide in a powerful wave of emotion, temptation, and transformation that will have lasting consequences for everyone involved. It begins when Kane walks into Society, hoping to get a quick meal and maybe a moment to himself. But instead of finding peace, he's greeted by the sound of his own name being dragged through the mud. Devin Winters, sitting at a nearby table with Abby Newman, doesn't hold back his disdain. Kane stops mid-step as he hears Devin telling Abby that Kane will never truly change, that no matter how many apologies he offers or programs he creates, his moral compass always tilts towards self-interest. The words sting more than Kane expected. He clenches his jaw, trying not to show the pain on his face, but the truth is, Devin's opinion still matters to him. Before Kane can respond, Lily arrives, radiant yet cautious, her eyes narrowing as she senses tension in the air. Kane wastes no time trying to turn the encounter in his favor. "Lily," he says softly, gesturing to the corner booth, "can we talk?" She hesitates for a moment, but curiosity, and perhaps the tiniest flicker of hope, leads her to sit. What follows is one of Kane's most vulnerable confessions yet. He admits that his desire to take over Genoa City was misguided, driven by pride and revenge rather than innovation or redemption. The AI program he created, which had once been his ticket to rebuilding his reputation, now feels like a monument to his ego. Kane lowers his voice, almost ashamed, and confides that he initially built it to control rather than to help. Lily listens carefully, her heart torn between skepticism and the lingering love she once had for the man in front of her. When Kane insists that he's changed and that he now wants to use his program for good, to protect people, to create transparency, to right his wrongs, Lily crosses her arms and says quietly, "If you've really changed, prove it. Destroy the program." Her tone is calm but firm. Kane blinks in surprise. Destroy it? That program represents years of work, his blood, sweat, and sleepless nights. But then he sees something in Lily's eyes, something that looks like a test of faith. She's not just asking him to delete some files, she's asking him to choose integrity over ambition. Kane takes a deep breath and says, "Consider it done." It's the most decisive moment he's had in months. Meanwhile, at Crimson Lights, Phyllis Summers sits with her laptop open, the glow of the screen illuminating her calculating smirk. Michelle Stafford's portrayal brings out every ounce of Phyllis's brilliance and deceit. She's typing furiously, lines of code scrolling across her screen as she plots to seize control of Kane's AI technology before he wipes it out for good. "You want redemption, Kane?" Phyllis mutters under her breath. "Fine. But I want results." She's determined to make sure she holds the upper hand in Genoa City's ongoing power game. For Phyllis, every downfall is an opportunity, and this time, she's determined to come out on top. Back at the Grand Phoenix and later at the GCAC, another emotional storm is brewing. Tessa Porter and Daniel Romolotti Jr. return to town after a whirlwind trip to Boston. Daniel had hoped to make it back in time for his father Danny's bachelor party, but the celebration has long since ended. Exhausted but restless, the pair decide to unwind at the club's jazz lounge. Tessa, however, seems more on edge than usual. Her relationship with Mariah has been strained, and the silence between them feels heavier than ever. When Daniel suggests heading home, Tessa shakes her head. "Not yet," she says. "I need one more drink." It's clear that Tessa's not drinking for fun, she's trying to numb the ache in her chest. The heartbreak of feeling abandoned by Mariah weighs heavily on her. Daniel, always the voice of reason, gently suggests some food and water, but Tessa waves him off, determined to drown her pain in alcohol. As the night wears on, she becomes visibly unsteady, her laughter turning slurred, her words tumbling out in fragments about love, loss, and mistakes. Daniel, trying to do the right thing, offers to help her upstairs to a suite so she can sleep it off. But as he steadies her on the staircase, Tessa turns suddenly and kisses him, deeply, passionately, and impulsively. The world spins for a moment, and Daniel is caught between instinct and morality. He gently pulls back, stunned, whispering, "Tessa, this isn't what you want." But the damage is done. Somewhere inside, he knows this moment could change everything. While Daniel wrestles with that shocking moment, Mariah is hundreds of miles away, staring at her phone in a Boston clinic, contemplating whether to call Tessa. Her hands tremble slightly as she scrolls through old photos, happier times with Tessa, Aria, and their dreams of building a family together. She sighs deeply and, instead of calling Tessa, she dials her mother, Sharon Newman. Sharon answers from Los Angeles, her voice soft but weary. She's sitting beside Noah's hospital bed, the rhythmic beep of the monitors echoing in the background. Noah remains comatose, his face pale but peaceful, and Sharon can barely keep her emotions in check. When Mariah starts to talk about her struggles, Sharon listens but has to step out of the room to keep her composure. Mariah admits she feels like she's losing everything, Tessa, her stability, even her sense of self. "I wish you were here," Mariah whispers. Sharon closes her eyes, torn. She wants to tell Mariah the truth about Noah's accident but can't bear to burden her daughter with another heartbreak. "I'm here for you," Sharon says gently. "Always." But her voice trembles, and Mariah senses it. After they hang up, Mariah stares at the disconnected call, tears spilling down her cheeks. She wants to fly to her mother, to be that source of comfort she once was, but instead, she sits alone, wrestling with her pain. Hours pass, and the night grows colder. Mariah, emotionally drained, sits at a small table with a tattered playing card in her hand, the same card Tessa once tore in half during an argument that symbolized their broken trust. She's staring at it when she suddenly hears a familiar voice, smooth, taunting, and unmistakably sinister. "Feeling lost again, my dear?" the voice says. Mariah looks up, and her breath catches in her throat. Ian Ward. It's impossible. He's supposed to be gone, out of her life forever. But there he is, sitting across from her like a specter from the past. His eyes gleam with the same manipulative intensity that once controlled her. Mariah freezes, her mind racing. Is he real? Is she imagining this? "You look like you've been through hell," Ian says, his tone disturbingly calm. "But then, that's where you've always found yourself, isn't it? In the chaos." Mariah grips the card so tightly it nearly rips again. "You're not real," she whispers. Ian smiles. "Aren't I?" Whether it's a hallucination, a nightmare, or an actual return, Mariah's confrontation with Ian forces her to relive the trauma of her youth. She hears echoes of his manipulation, his control, the way he once made her believe she was worthless without him. But this time, she's stronger, or at least she wants to be. She stands up, voice shaking but resolute. "You don't control me anymore." Ian's grin widens. "We'll see," he says ominously, fading into the shadows of her mind, or maybe, terrifyingly, into the night itself. As dawn breaks over Genoa City, the pieces begin to shift. Kane, true to his word, begins the process of deleting his AI system. But as he does, a strange alert flashes across his screen, unauthorized access detected. Phyllis. The digital war has begun. Meanwhile, Daniel wakes up with guilt heavy on his conscience, wondering how to tell Mariah what happened with Tessa before she finds out some other way. And Mariah, shaken but resolute, stares out her window, vowing not to let Ian, real or imagined, haunt her again. Tuesday's episode of The Young and the Restless will be one of confrontation and catharsis, Kane's moral test, Phyllis's dangerous ambition, Tessa's heartbreak, and Mariah's ghost from the past all colliding in a perfect storm of emotion and consequence. And as Mariah wipes her tears and whispers to herself, "I'm not that girl anymore," viewers will be left wondering whether she's finally free of Ian Ward, or if her nightmare has only just begun. Mariah Copeland's night didn't end when Ian Ward appeared. In fact, that eerie reappearance was only the beginning of a psychological battle that would push her to the edge of her sanity. As dawn broke over the Boston skyline, the chill of her encounter with Ian lingered like a shadow that refused to fade. She barely slept, sitting by the window of her small apartment, staring into the pale orange horizon while clutching the torn playing card that symbolized everything she'd lost: love, peace, and her sense of safety. Her mind kept replaying Ian's smirk, his mocking tone, his question, "Are you feeling lost again?" It felt so real that she could still hear his voice echoing through the room. Mariah's rational mind tried to tell her that Ian couldn't possibly be back. He was behind bars the last she'd heard, or at least, he should be. But her heart, raw and wounded, wasn't so easily convinced. Trauma has a way of blurring the line between reality and imagination, and Ian Ward was the embodiment of every scar she carried from her past. With trembling fingers, she grabbed her phone and hesitated before dialing anyone. Her first instinct was to call Sharon again, but she remembered the sound of exhaustion in her mother's voice, the way Sharon had stuttered as if she was hiding something. Mariah couldn't bear to add another burden. Instead, she sent a quick text to Tessa, "I need to talk. Please." The message went unread. A painful knot twisted in Mariah's stomach as the hours dragged on. She didn't know that Tessa was back in Genoa City, still asleep at the GCAC after a night of confusion, guilt, and misplaced passion. Daniel had stayed on the couch, unable to shake off the shame of what had happened. He hadn't meant for any of it, the kiss, the blurred lines, but his conscience wouldn't let him forget. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Tessa's face, the way she'd looked at him, not as a friend, not as Mariah's wife, but as a broken woman searching for comfort in all the wrong places. When Tessa finally stirred, the pounding in her head reminded her of everything she wanted to forget. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, and she groaned, reaching for it. Mariah's text appeared on the screen. Seeing her name made Tessa's chest tighten painfully. She had no idea what to say, not after what she'd done. The guilt was unbearable. How could I look her in the eye after that? She thought. She wanted to respond, but her fingers hovered helplessly over the keyboard. Instead, she tossed the phone aside and buried her face in her hands. Meanwhile, back in Genoa City, Kane Ashby was standing in front of his computer, staring at the flashing alert that refused to disappear, unauthorized access detected. He'd promised Lily that he would delete the AI program, that he would destroy every last piece of it as proof of his transformation, but someone had beaten him to it. The realization hit him like a lightning bolt. Phyllis, he muttered under his breath, his mind racing. Of course it was her. She'd always been one step ahead, and she'd had a vested interest in his project from the start. He picked up his phone and called her, but the call went straight to voicemail. Kane slammed the phone down in frustration. She's going to use it, he whispered. She's going to use my work. The thought sent a wave of panic through him. Phyllis Summers was brilliant, no doubt, but she was also dangerous when she wanted something. And if she'd gained access to his AI technology, she now possessed something far more powerful than she could possibly understand. The program wasn't just designed to analyze data or predict market trends, it could manipulate patterns, influence online behavior, even dig up private secrets buried in encrypted files. Kane had intended it to revolutionize the tech industry, but in the wrong hands, it could destroy lives. At that exact moment, Phyllis was in her element. She sat at her usual table at Crimson Lights, a cup of coffee in hand and her laptop humming with silent menace. Her lips curved into a sly smile as she watched lines of code stream across her screen. She'd done it, she'd cracked Kane's security system and transferred the AI architecture to her private server. You shouldn't have hesitated, Kane, she murmured. Now it's mine. To Phyllis, this wasn't theft, it was strategy. Genoa City was full of players, Victor Newman, Jack Abbott, Devin Winters, but with this technology, she could outsmart them all. While Kane's world spun into chaos, Lily Winters was busy trying to focus on her work at Chancellor Winters, unaware of the storm brewing. Devin stopped by her office, sensing her distraction. Everything okay? He asked. Lily sighed and admitted that Kane had promised to delete his AI program. Devin raised an eyebrow, skeptical. Do you really believe he will? Lily hesitated before answering. I want to, she said softly. But I don't know if I can. Devin leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. Kane always has an angle. Be careful, Lil. You've given him too many second chances already.